Hello and welcome to Creator Weekly for the week ending November 23rd, 2025. I'm Peggy Kay, and this week there's updates for YouTube, TikTok, Google Vids, Facebook. For publishers, there's updates for AdSense and in Google Search Console. And then there's the big update, Nano Banana Pro. So let's get started. If you're here live, I'd love to hear what you think about this week's update, so post in the chat. If you want more information or links, again, this week's newsletter and blog post are linked in the description of the video. So check that out. I want to get started with the big YouTube update for this week. YouTube is testing a direct messaging feature that lets you share videos you love and have conversations about them directly in the YouTube mobile app. All right. So this fits with the general shift towards private messaging, private sharing. You see on Instagram, they have a bunch of new features for people sharing reels in their direct messages. Spotify, they have private sharing. So this is a trend. This is first rolling out in Ireland and Poland to adult accounts. So you have to be at least 18. So this will be interesting to see how it plays out. If you've been around YouTube for a while, you'll remember that there have been direct messaging, private messaging options over the years. There was Inbox, that was shut down in 2014 when they switched to Google Plus based messaging. Google Plus based messaging was retired in 2018. And then they had this sort of direct messaging with friends feature. I think that launched in 2017. It only lasted until 2019. So it's been at least 5 years since there's been any sort of private messaging. Maybe they'll get it right this time. It will be interesting to see. So starting out only in 2 countries, and then it will presumably expand. So the next update is for folks who sell products using YouTube Shopping. This is a layout tweak. There are now improved timestamps on mobile videos. This is not shorts, this is just landscape videos in the mobile app. And instead of obscuring part of the video, there's now a dedicated product shelf that stays open between product timestamps. So before, you can see the before and after in this, where before it was just like, oh, there's like 12 products, but in the new version, it now shows the actual product being promoted there. Better if you're using shopping. YouTube is also expanding access to these AI-powered comment reply suggestions. You've probably seen this when you're looking at your own comments. You may see suggestions for how you can reply, and these are based on how you normally reply. If you normally reply in multiple languages, you're going to see suggestions in multiple languages. So this is expanding to more creators in YouTube Studio on mobile and the web and the YouTube mobile app. So those are the updates for YouTube this week. I wanted to mention, one more quick suggestion. There is an interview about the latest live streaming features, and it has Renee Ritchie, who's the creator liaison. It has Barbara McDonald, who is the product manager for live, and then they have a YouTuber on, Lana Ray. I think she does some sort of gaming Roblox kind of live streams. And they talk about the new features that are rolling out right now, maybe into the new year. So that's worth checking out if you live stream on YouTube. So I just want to take a moment to say hi to folks who are in the live chat. I see Braylon, Craig, Jolyn, Alan. Again, I'd love to hear what you think about this week's updates. So I want to talk about sort of a big update from Google. The Google Vids platform is offering AI-powered features to people with free accounts. So Google Vids is part of the Google Workspace suite. It has a lot of tools like Google Slides, Docs, Drive, all those things, those kinds of sharing permissions. Now, there's a bunch of AI features that it's incorporating, of course. And so the announcement this week is that if you have a free personal Google account, that's usually with a Gmail, you can now access some of these AI features in Google Vids. That includes features like AI voiceovers. So you have a transcript and it reads the script. A transcript trimming to remove silences and filler words. That's what I'm illustrating here. So it will have a generated transcript if you have talking. And then it will say, oh, look, there's like a space. And there's like someone saying, or something like that. And you can basically edit the transcript, edit the video. And of course, you don't accept all of these because sometimes when people leave a space, that's intentional, but it can clean up the video supposedly. And then there's built-in image editing. You can either generate new images or you can use the AI tools to edit images that you're using in the video that you're creating. That's like remove background or change things or add an object. So if you haven't used Google Vids, you might want to give it a try. You can make vertical or landscape videos. It's got a bunch of tools built in. It's not, a hardcore video editing platform, but it's pretty simple. You can do things like you can start from Google's slide presentation, that sort of thing. So definitely check it out. Note that some of the AI features are not available to free accounts. For example, generating video clips is not available, but you have to have a Google Workspace account or have a Google AI Pro or Ultra subscription for some of those features. Now, mentioning that, it was also announced this week that Google Vids now lets you use Veo 3.1, that's a video generation model, to create an 8-second video clip by prompting with up to 3 images. So the thing is that you can use this to force it to be consistent in the way it looks. So you upload an image of a person and the scenery and an object they're holding, and then it will generate a video using those instead of just being some random thing. That's much better if you want a specific video clip. Over on TikTok, they are testing new controls that let you choose how much AI-generated content you see in the For You feed. You go into Manage Topic Settings. This lets you adjust, how much you want to see about various topics, how much sports, how much beauty and fashion, various things. So this lets you toggle how much AI-generated content. This is similar to a setting that Pinterest launched last month. Similarly, you can say what kind of generative AI content you want to see, how much. This seems to be a trend. And of course, it's only as good as how well these platforms can actually detect the AI generated content. Be interesting to see if YouTube decides to implement a similar setting. TikTok is also adding invisible and non-removable watermarks to content generated with AI using their tools. So like AI Editor Pro, or if you upload something that has the C2PA content credentials, um, it can use that to detect it again. It lets them offer these settings so people can adjust what they see, hopefully reducing the amount of AI slop, but people love AI slop. Who knew? And then over on Twitch. Twitch is updating how it counts views of clips. Clips are, a clip, a small segment taken from a live stream. They want people to share those on other platforms, promote things, and they say that view counts of clips have been inflated due to a technical issue, and they fixed that. They say, well, while clip views may initially appear lower, you'll now have cleaner and more consistent cross-platform clips data. So basically, Twitch is fixing it so that the clips views are more accurate. I don't know how they count views. Hopefully it means people have to actually watch it for a certain amount of time and not just see it in their stream, because that's useless. So the next really big update I wanted to talk about is for creators with access to the Facebook Professional Dashboard. Now, if you upload Reels to Facebook, you can enroll in Facebook content protection. That way, people will be notified if there's a new reel uploaded that matches your reels. So, what does that actually mean in practical terms? Creators then can choose to track those reels or request they be blocked, release the claims. You can submit a copyright takedown notice. You can also add accounts to a whitelist and say these specific accounts are allowed to upload my reels, so they won't be flagged. So again, this is for creators in the Facebook content monetization program who have access to the professional dashboard. It's been an ongoing problem on Facebook, other platforms too, where people take popular reels, short videos from other platforms and then just upload them to Facebook and they get all those views, maybe monetize. Here's the catch though. To use this, you have to post your reels to Facebook. And Facebook says, be sure to post them early. So basically, you want to be the first one to upload your video to Facebook. That lets the system work. There is a process if someone steals a video and then uploads it and then tries to claim your video later, there's the dispute process. And again, you can submit copyright takedown notices that doesn't require this platform at all. So it'll be interesting to see if this causes any kind of shift to more original content. It is frustrating when you're watching videos and you want, more from that creator, but it's actually a stolen copy and you can't even figure out who the original creator is. There should be penalties for that. All right, so I want to switch over a little bit to updates for publishers. These are folks who have their own blog, your own website, and a lot of times you're looking at the data in Google Search Console. This shows you how well your website is doing in Google Search, what people are searching for, how many people click it when they see it. And there's a lot of factors that can affect that. So now you can add an annotation to the performance report at a specific date and say, this is something that happened. So you hired someone new to help you with SEO, or you updated the content, or there was a holiday or a specific event. And you can note that now. And then when you're looking at your performance reports, you can see if anything stands out from that. So the annotations are visible to anyone who has access to the performance reports. So, don't write something rude about something, about someone who has access to do that. But I think this is really useful in terms of understanding how your site is doing in search and how maybe changes or certain events might affect that. Also wanted to mention that AdSense announced that a number of US states are updating their data privacy laws. So there's two updates. On November 17th, Google started processing opt-out preferences for ad viewers from Delaware and Oregon. And if people opt out, then they don't see customized ads. And then on January 1st, there are new laws in Indiana, Kentucky, and Rhode Island. And Google suggests activating restricted data processing mode to disable ad personalization. And this is where it gets kind of confusing. You can go into your AdSense account, go to privacy and messaging, and check the US state regulations section to see if you have a privacy message set up and how that works. If you do, I think that should cover it. Now, this is totally confusing that every state in the US can have different laws about how this is supposed to work. Obviously, it's not something you can manage on your own. It is kind of fun that AdSense says, oh, well, if you're not sure if this is compliant enough, consult your legal team. Yeah, right. Thank you, Google. So again, if you have an AdSense account and you're concerned about this, go in and check your settings under privacy and messaging to make sure you have that set up. On Bluesky, they have updated their moderation process as part of their Building Healthier Social Media commitment. Their policies, this is not a change in policy. This is a change in the way you report bad content. They used to have 6 options. So if you were flagging a post, you could choose from 6 options. Now there are 39 options. So you can be more specific about how a post is violating content. And they have a range of severity levels. You can go anywhere from temporary suspensions to permanent bans. And they're going to also be more transparent in the notices they send to accounts that post these things so people know what policy they were violating. Seems like a good thing. Transparency is good. And then over on X, this is an interesting thing. So they rolled out a brand new feature. It's about this account. So if you go on X and you go to someone's profile and you click the thing that says joined on this date, you actually see information about the profile. And I will show you mine. So it shows things like the join date, your location, what app store you got the app from, whether you've changed the username on the account. So I will mention, though, that this can be wrong. This shows that I'm in Ireland. I was in Ireland 6 weeks ago. I've been back in the US since then. I don't go to X very often. This will presumably update on its own. There is a note that says the country or region that an account is based in can be impacted by recent travel or temporary relocation, and it can change periodically. So that will be interesting to see. Now, what is happening with this, though, is people are checking a lot of these influencer accounts. This is mostly right-wing political accounts, and you check this information, where are they located? They're located in Russia, they're located in Africa, they're located in India or the Middle East. So this account that says I'm a patriot from Texas, yeah, no, they're not. And like I said, sometimes it can be wrong, but not for so many. And it's really a bad thing because X's monetization program is based on engagement. And how do you get engagement? You post rage bait kind of content. Say, I'm a patriot. Look at this. This is some immigrant who's torturing kittens or something. And it's, AI generated images, but people apparently eat that stuff up. They get engagement, they're monetized. And, just to be clear, all these influencer accounts, they say they're verified. It's only verified in the sense that a valid credit card was used for a subscription. There's no identity verification. So people are talking about this. I saw some posts that said that the feature had been disabled, but that's not what I'm seeing. I checked right before the live stream today. It's still there. So if you're on X, go to a profile, click the join information, and you can see more details. So I wanted to shift gears real quick. It's taking me longer to yammer on, but I want to talk about the latest AI launch from Google. I saw Jolyn in the comments saying she's trying some of this. They released Gemini 3 Pro this week along with Nano Banana Pro. The actual name of Nano Banana Pro is Gemini 3 Pro Image, which sounds a lot more boring. It's interesting. If you go to the Gemini app, this is on desktop, there'll be like a banner at the top and you can click it for more information. The features of Nano Banana Pro include more accurately rendered text, image consistency, because it can use up to 14 reference images. So you give it reference images and then have it generate images, and it references that, so that maintains consistency. It can maintain the resemblance of up to 5 people. And then there's editing controls that do things like you can change the light level, the camera angle, focus, color grading, kinds of photography settings. So the feature I wanted to mention, though, that looks pretty neat is that it can create infographics. Now, this is an infographic it generated when I was in Gemini and wanted more information about Nano Banana Pro. It has an extremely long prompt. If you see this, I recommend reading the entire prompt. It's very detailed. That's what you need to do to generate accurate, but it looks pretty good, right? And it's not like just garbled, fake text-like things. And it shows some of the things you can do. You can create an infographic just from a text prompt. So the one on the left there, create an infographic that shows how to make a lychee chai. And that's what it generated. On the right, it shows an infographic made from a photo. So it starts with the photo of the plant, and the prompt was create an infographic about this plant focused on interesting information. And again, it looks good. It's different styles. You can tell it to be a certain style. This is in Google Slides. So it starts with a slide that has, just text, bullet points text. And the prompt was to create an infographic that uses the colors and branding from the slide deck. So it's pulling from the slide deck. It uses the information from the slide deck to make this detailed infographic. And because you can have it reference the rest of the slide deck, there's a consistent style you can use, which I think is really pretty neat. The bad thing about this, and this is something they haven't fixed, is that the text is not editable. So if it's not correct, or if you want to update it, you can't do that. You have to generate an entirely new infographic, which is kind of not practical. Maybe it's something they will fix in the future. How can you access Nano Banana Pro? It's in the Gemini app. This is free to use. You have a quota. If you have a free account, you have a quota. If you use that up, then it reverts back to the previous Nano Banana, which isn't as good. Like this, they do this every time they upgrade the model. There's AI mode in the search, Google Slides, Google Vids, Notebook LM, Google Ads. If you're an advertiser, it's also available in Adobe Firefly and Photoshop, because Adobe allows access to third-party AI models. Some of those require a subscription, an AI subscription or a Google Workspace account, but the way things usually work is that access to this expands over time as they develop new models. So those are the updates this week. Really quickly, I want to take a look at what was happening 10 years ago. I can't believe I've done this for a year, but it's celebrating 10 years of my Creator Weekly newsletter. And there's some interesting trends. So 10 years ago this week, Microsoft launched the Affordable Access Initiative, which invested in infrastructure to bring internet to the 4 billion people who didn't have access. And this was a trend in 2015. One of the big tech pushes was bringing the internet and web services to previously underserved markets. So Google in 2015 launched what they called its Next Billion Users Initiative, bringing helpful, relevant, and inclusive technology to people new to the internet. And these are people who may not have a good, solid internet connection. Part of that was offering free Wi-Fi at Indian train stations. They also had a project that was called Project Loon. This is like big weather balloons that floated in a specific area, and they're essentially floating mobile towers that people could connect to. This finally launched at scale in 2015, I think in Sri Lanka and Indonesia. And beyond that, Google made changes to some apps, YouTube, Maps, so that it could be accessed offline in those countries. So it was not just Google and Microsoft. Of course, Facebook was getting into the act. Facebook had this program called internet.org, which sounds really neutral, but it was not. That launched in 2014, but it really picked up in 2015. And there's a lot of criticism because basically internet.org is like, we're bringing you the internet and it is Facebook. So people obviously criticize that. But in 2015, they changed the name to Free Basics, and they started allowing third-party developers to have services. Again, these were all handpicked by Facebook at the time. And just to be clear, these were not purely altruistic endeavors from Microsoft and Google and Facebook. This was about expanding into new markets and getting new customers that had to be online. So what's happened since then? So 10 years later, it's actually hard to find a lot of information about the status of these projects. Some of them are apparently still at least kind of going. Um, Google's shifted their next billion users to something Google for. So it's like Google for Brazil, Google for Kenya. And it's mostly about, I don't know, giving speeches. It, Facebook's free basics program was banned completely in India for violating net neutrality. So the scope is much more limited. I think it's still an option in some countries, but it's pretty quiet. And the Google Loon Balloons, sadly, where that project was shut down in 2021, it was not commercially viable. So these are sort of pie in the sky, big projects. The reality is that mobile data plans have just gotten cheaper and cheaper and more reliable. And so a lot of these programs probably aren't necessary. Right now, I checked the stats. 3/4 of the world is currently online. That's about 6 billion people out of 8 billion people are online. So the next billion users, they're already there. Thank you so much for joining me today, everyone. I wanted to say hi to folks who I didn't say hi to yet. I see Nina and Chef and folks. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you found this interesting. If you're in the US, I hope you have a fantastic Thanksgiving this week. And I will see all of you next Sunday. Thank you for joining me.